Hey everybody, Dr. Ben here. Wanted to share with you some science. I have been looking at the clinical trial for the Moderna vaccine and doing my own research, as we all should be doing, whether we are doctors or scientists or not. And I've come across some things that are quite alarming to me, and I want to share them with you. So this is available on clinicaltrials.gov. You can pull this up, and I recommend that you do. Don't just take what I say with this video as gospel. Do your own research, okay? So I'm going to pull this, and I'll put a link to the study down below, but if you can probably Google it too. This is the study, okay? So a study to evaluate the efficacy, safety, and immunogenicity, basically the ability of this drug to create an immune response of mRNA 1273 vaccine in adults age 18 or over to prevent COVID-19. Okay, so mRNA 1273 is the vaccine created by a company you've probably heard of called Moderna, okay? And as we see that this study is collaborated with NIAID, whom you probably are familiar with, and we can look at the study design. We can't see the results yet, but we can see the study details. So it is a phase 3 trial. mRNA 1273 is the name of the vaccine. And we can see we got about 30,000 participants in a randomized trial, placebo-controlled. So I can't actually tell whether or not this is an actual inert placebo-controlled study, because here it says that the placebo is participants will receive 1 intramuscular injection of mRNA 1273, matching placebo on day 1 and on day 29. So I don't know if they're getting the placebo and the drug, because then it says placebo 0.9% sodium chloride normal saline injection. So regardless, if it is getting a normal saline placebo, that's awesome. That really doesn't happen for vaccines. But that is not what is really concerning here. I want you to take a look at the outcome measures, and they're doing some trickery to hide bad things that might happen, and we're going to expose that. So primary outcome measures: number of participants with a first occurrence of COVID-19 starting 14 days after the second dose. So they're only going to look at people who got COVID-19 14 days after they got the second dose. So if you got the vaccine and you got COVID-19 sometime before day 29, guess what? They are not counting it. Okay, so if the vaccine made you sick with COVID-19 before the 14-day window, guess what? Not included in the study, not talked about, don't have to report it. Number of adverse events or medically attended adverse events leading to withdrawal, time frame up to 2 years after second dose. Okay, so this is very interesting, and this is very trickily worded. So number of participants with an adverse event, that is some sort of side effect, or medically attended adverse event, a side effect so severe they needed medical attention, go seek a doctor's help, go to the hospital, leading to withdrawal. So if they had one of these adverse events or medically attended adverse events and they didn't leave the study, it wouldn't be reported in the study. Okay, very interesting. All right, so why would they not leave the study if they had an adverse event? Well, let me tell you, if they had this severe adverse event, this medically attended adverse event after the second dose, maybe the day of the second dose, there's really no point in leaving the study, right? Because they're not going to get any more injections. They're not going to, don't stick me with any more of that drug because there's no more doses to be given. And so they would probably say, well, I had this, I should stay in the study and I should be monitored, right? So if they stay in the study, they don't report it. But if they leave the study, they report it. Well, that's an easy way. Well, you can just say, oh, you had a medically attended adverse, we'll just keep you in the study. Don't worry, there's no more drugs to give you. We'll keep you in the study, keep tabs on you. But what they're really saying is we'll keep you in the study so we don't have to report what happened to you, which I think is just ludicrous. I mean, this is an easy way to sweep medically attended adverse events under the rug. I mean, it's pretty black and white here. Okay, this was shocking to me. All right, number 3, number of participants with solicited local and systemic adverse event reactions up to day 8 and up to day 36. So they can have systemic adverse events, and as long as they happen within 7 days of the second dose, they'll report them. But if they have them 8 days after the second dose, they could die. They could literally die a systemic adverse event And guess what? It would not be reported in the study. If we're doing a 2-year follow-up, why are we not, including things that happened up to 2 years after? Why? We're obviously excluding these because we know bad things are going to happen, and we're sweeping them under the rug. If you're tracking all these people, it's no more work to include this kind of stuff in the study. If you're tracking it for 2 years, you would think we would include this kind of stuff in the study, but apparently not, because guess what? We want to sweep severe adverse events under the rug. Okay, number of participants with unsolicited adverse events up to day 57. So again, only looking at up to day 57. So if they have an unsolicited adverse event after day 57, even though we're monitoring them for 2 years, not reported in the study. Not reported in the study. Okay, now you can look at these other ones, but they're mainly number of participants with first occurrence of severe COVID-19 starting 14 days after the second dose. So if you got the vaccine and got sick with COVID-19 less than 14 days after the second dose, they don't report in the study. So literally, if the vaccine gave you COVID-19 within 14 days, they would not report it in the study. They only report it if it gave it to you after 14 days, okay? And then we also look at, people who tested positive for SARS-CoV-2 but didn't have symptoms. Same thing. This is all only 14 days after the second dose. So thereby excluding all these people who got sick in an immediate time frame with COVID. Okay, well, what do you think is more likely? The vaccine is going to give you COVID immediately or give you COVID, 2 weeks out? I mean, why would they exclude? What do they have to hide? They shouldn't have anything to hide. This is not rocket surgery, people, okay? And then we're looking at, lastly, titers of antibodies, specifically 2 different types of antibodies, specific N and neutralizing antibody and protein-specific binding antibodies, the last 2. Well, you'd want to look at that. You'd also want to look at people who do or do not get sick with COVID after getting the vaccine. Those are good measurements. But if we're purposely excluding people who do get COVID within 14 days of the second dose, well, we're sweeping data under the rug. So this is the kind of shenanigans that drug companies do all the time. And if we don't speak out and say something, they're going to continue to get away with it. So share this video, show people this link, and let them know that scientific fraud is definitely alive and well. And if you have any questions, leave a comment down below. If there's anything else you want to see me do a video on, let me know, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching. I have a special gift for you. The Autoimmune Recovery Blueprint is everything I wish I had 10 years ago when I came down with an autoimmune disease and doctors couldn't help me. Condense it down into a 12-page ebook, yours free when you sign up for my email list.